that? Okay. So thank you for the introduction. Yes, I'm the CEO of the long distance operations of Deutsche Bahn, and I'm sure at least the Germans in the floor, you all have an opinion of Deutsche Bahn. Either you travel with us or you don't, it doesn't matter, you have an opinion of us. And some customers actually travel with us. And last year, it was 140 million people that we brought from Aachen to Dresden, from Kiel to Freiburg. And we bring our guests to work every day. We brought 500,000 people home for Christmas. We bring them to the airport to fly for a vacation. And maybe that's also the reason why we are of such public interest. And I personally, it can be hard. Sigrid Nikota, I'm sure she shares that view. It can be hard, but it says nothing more and less that we are relevant to the lives of the people. And that's why I feel that's actually a privilege. Our purpose is to connect people and to overcome distances. And we mean that quite literally, not data streams, but physically actually cross distances and connect people. And by the way, we have been doing this since 1835. So, in 1835, the first steam-powered train went from Nuremberg to Fürth, and speed of travel increased since then from 60 to more than 300 kilometers per hour. But the basic principle of railways is still the same. Just take the track width, it's still the same as today. And this is our new train. This is our ICE4. It's the newest member of our family. And we will get more than 100 of these new trains. And we will invest over 5 billion into these trains. And I will be more than 80 years old when the last one of these trains is still running. So why am I here today? Because we are high speed, but mostly slow moving. Our investment cycles, for example, for infrastructure, are even longer. We will open our new super track from Munich to Berlin, and you will be able to travel in less than 4 hours from Berlin to Munich, and I'm very glad that my Lufthansa colleagues have that in their corporate planning incorporated. But it took us 25 years just to start planning and to open that track. So we are high speed, but mostly slow moving. On the other hand, our competition is mostly slow speed, slower, because our main competitor is the car, but they are faster moving. So that's a problem. Take, for example, the long distance buses. The market was liberalized, and in addition to the car as our traditional competitor, we have now a new competitor, and the long-distance buses have really been very successful in capturing the market. They have attracted initially especially young people who are price sensitive, who are willing to travel a bit longer and who just ran away from us. Because what we couldn't offer was, a good price, and also we couldn't offer a few of the things that are essential now. Wi-Fi, for example, at least in 2013. When I took over as CEO of DB Fernverkehr, my then 12-year-old daughter said, I have only one thing for you to get done, and that is to get Wi-Fi in your trains. Because unless you achieve that, I will not travel with you. So that's my primary motivation to actually get this done, and we did. So competition really got us up to speed. It helped us reconnect with the customers, and for example, the Wi-Fi problem, we solved that in 6 months, which was faster than any airline or any other high-speed company has done before. I always say that long-distance buses are a digital phenomenon. Why is that? I think it's very apparent, at least for this group. It's transparency that moves the needle now. Our prices are painfully transparent, our quality is painfully transparent, and competition, the long-distance bus, is always just a click away. So that's why long-distance buses and the internet really changed the way for us. It helped us in a hard way. Our prices fell more than 10%, and if you have a fixed cost structure like ours, it goes straight to bottom line. So you need to do something to bring up quality, lower prices at the same time. So how do you actually do that? And now there is autonomous cars at the horizon. Autonomous cars, these are not autonomous cars, these are the young people that travel with the long-distance buses. Autonomous cars, they can really be disruptive. By the way, we invented autonomous driving. It's there already. You just enter the train, you can do what you want, you can read, you can sleep, you can eat, whatever. You can do exactly the same as the promise is for the future of autonomous cars. In that sense, this really goes to the core of our value proposition. Autonomous cars is like driving, is like getting the train to your doorstep. And that's why we need to be very, very cautious about that. And autonomous driving is also done and driven by players not only in the traditional setting as car producers, but by the Googles and Teslas of the world. So this is a fast competition, a really fast-moving competition. So that's the challenge, and I guess that's why I'm here today. Challenge probably not only for us, but for a lot of traditional companies. How can you speed up evolution in a world of disruption? Because what we are a company with a long and proud tradition, with very strict regulations because safety is concerned. We have long investment cycles, and on the other hand, competition is fast, a lot faster than us. And I wouldn't claim to give you the answer. I can only tell you about what we have been tackling, what we've been trying to achieve. And I would like to start with the first of 3 pillars of what we're trying to do, and it's to foster a customer-centric culture. That may sound like a no-brainer. It goes back to Sam Walton, who said, there is only one boss, the customer. But let's be honest with ourselves. A lot of companies still have to learn that lesson, including us. And it's something that you preach in Silicon Valley, and we've gone there, and we've heard it. the hard thing is it's not sufficient, to come back, to be enlightened and say, I've learned it. It's all about customer centricity now. The hard thing is to get it done. In our case, to bring it to 17,000 people from the train conductor to the mechanic at the shop floor. So what are we trying to do? And it's a lot of small steps. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And it's a very analog thing. This here, this is my name tag. And it shows my name, and it shows that I'm an executive of DB Fernverkehr. Yeah, it's an understatement. No, I'm an executive. It's true. And we handed this name tag out to every executive of the company. And we ask them to wear it when they're traveling in the train. And let me tell you, it's interesting. It can sometimes be really hard. Take an overcrowded train which is delayed. And then, wear your name tag and try to explain. But it's also very, very rewarding, and it connects you with both your travelers and your employees. Second thing, just a brief example, what we do to actually foster that customer-centric culture. We always have an executive panel 2 days a year. We all come together. It's 600 executives coming together. And so we opened up the party. And traditionally, you start off with a speech. And everybody is looking forward for that speech. So I opened up, and everybody had just made themselves comfortable. And I said, today we'll do it differently. You all guys, we all get up again, because today we will walk the talk first. So what we did, they all got T-shirts. We swarmed to the stations, into the trains, into the travel outlets. We had some flowers, some roses. We helped carry suitcases. And believe me, it was a different atmosphere afterwards. Because after that, we talked about how we need to improve quality. Afterwards, it could connect a lot easier because everything was very clear what we had to do. The second pillar that I would like to mention here is we need, and you guys need to embrace new technologies for your core business. When you go into one of our plants where we do nightly maintenance for our trains, you see it's almost all manual work. And it feels like it would feel 30 years ago. Now you can look at it from two angles. First angle is you can be depressed. Second one is you can say, well, there's a huge potential. There is a huge potential to both increase productivity and quality at the same time. Let me get a few examples. One is here, roof diagnostics. Use of technology where we can now detect whether a roof has a problem. How do we do that today, or how did we do that 6 months ago? It was a man with a stick and a mirror. And he looked, is there something wrong with the roof? Now we have a self-learning software, and obviously it frees up capacity, it frees up tracks, it has a higher quality, and it's much more efficient. Let's take another example, virtual reality. We have, with our ICE4, we have something that we call a lifting ramp. So that's something where people with a wheelchair can actually get into the train. The problem is this takes about 18 steps to conduct properly. And the second challenge is that these lifting chairs are used so rarely that our people lack practice. So we need training. The ICE 4, and we used to do training in the trains, physically. However, it's a 40 million asset. It needs to run, not practicing. So what we do now is actually do that with a VR application, and so we will speed up immediately the training of the 4,000 people. Third point, data. Maybe you know the problem almost never happens, but maybe you know the problem that a train is late. And then the question is, will the other train wait? That's a big intellectual challenge, because what you need to account for is what will actually happen to the next train that is then delayed. Will that cause further delays? How will that spread throughout the network? It's something that a human brain cannot capture. So this is where intelligent systems, data, artificial intelligence comes together and is used to improve the way we're doing business. The third pillar for us is we need to actively shape new business models. Our core belief is that if you shape new business models, you need to do it in a different environment than the traditional one. Because we lack creativity, we are geared towards efficiency, and it's not the environment that startups need to prosper. So when we talk about shaping new business models, we really talk about getting it outside the company, be a lot more tolerant for mistakes, and actually, get it really moving fast. So the third part is really outside, not inside the company to transform. Just a few facts about that. We have an accelerator. We have 30 first-class startups, and we try to work with them very focused to our problems. I'll show you an example. That is Holoplot. Maybe that would also be a good idea for here. It's a modular sound system that is able to direct sound specifically to a very specific point. So what is it supposed to solve for us? You will now be able to understand at the station what they are trying to tell you. And we've tried that, and it's a miracle. It's just fantastic what we can do with these guys. We have a venture fund, 100 million to invest, and we have a collaboration platform that we are nurturing in this area as well. And now we're working on Yoki. Yoki is a new mobility service provider. What we're trying to do there is to establish mobility as a service, to organize individual tracks at public transport prices. Right now we are doing that with people, with drivers, but obviously this will be something that will be done with autonomous cars. And in that sense, autonomous driving is something that will actually help us to bridge the last mile and the first mile. And in that sense, we also regard autonomous driving as an opportunity for us at DB, and that's why we're investing in that. So that's it in a nutshell. Disruption is about to come our way. Quite frankly, I'm glad it does, because it helps us to speed up. We have a strong core. We are working on a customer-centric organization, and now we have the means of new technology, new partners. And so I'm No, we have still a long way to go. That's not a problem because we're in the business of long distance. And I guess when I come next time, I will say we're high speed, but faster moving. Thank you.